Welcome to Caracomp Insider, where high-tech facial recognition meets real-world intelligence.
Every time your phone unlocks with a glance, it isn't recognizing your face. It's measuring the distance between 2 points in a space with 128 dimensions. And that distance can lie. That might sound abstract, but it touches everyone. If you've ever been tagged in a photo you didn't post, or watched your phone unlock for you in a split second, facial comparison math is already running on your data. And if the idea of an algorithm deciding whether you are who you say you are makes you uneasy, that's a reasonable response. Because most people, including many professionals who rely on these systems, don't understand what's actually happening behind that match score. Today we're going to open the hood on facial comparison, not the marketing version, but the actual math. How does a machine turn your face into numbers? And why do those numbers break down exactly when the stakes are highest? The starting point is something called an embedding. A facial recognition system doesn't store a picture of your face. It converts your face into exactly 128 numerical values, a string of decimals like 0.23, negative 0.45, 0.78, and so on. According to the original Google FaceNet research published on Archive Modern Systems, achieved their performance using only 128 bytes per face. That's it. Your entire identity, as far as the algorithm is concerned, is a list of 128 numbers. Two different photos of you will produce very similar lists. Two photos of you and a stranger will produce very different lists. The system then measures the gap between those two lists using something called Euclidean distance, basically how far apart 2 points sit in a 128-dimensional space. A distance of 0 means the faces are mathematically identical. A distance of 4 means they're completely different people. And somewhere in between, there's a cutoff line, a threshold, where the system decides match or no match. The article from Holistic News puts it this way. Imagine converting a face into GPS coordinates inside a vast city with 128 dimensions. Two photos of the same person land at nearly identical coordinates. Two photos of different people land miles apart. But if the photo is dark or the face is turned or half hidden, the signal scrambles and the algorithm drops the pin in the wrong neighborhood. So where does the threshold come from? That's where the system learns. During training, the network looks at 3 faces at once: a reference face, a second photo of the same person, and a photo of someone else. It adjusts its internal math to push the matching pair closer together in that 128-dimensional space, and shove the non-matching face further away. Millions of these triplet comparisons teach the system what same and different look like geometrically. For anyone who's trained a dog with treats and corrections, the logic is similar. Reward closeness, penalize distance, repeat millions of times. Now, on clean, well-lit, front-facing photos, these systems are extraordinary. According to researchers using the Labeled Faces in the Wild benchmark, modern models score above 99% accuracy. A threshold of about 1.1 in that 128-dimensional space classifies nearly every pair correctly under those conditions. That number is real. But it creates a dangerous illusion. Vendors publish that number because it comes from clean, controlled lab conditions. And most buyers, agencies, companies, even courts, never think to ask what happens when the conditions aren't clean. According to peer-reviewed research published in Science Direct, when a face is partially blocked by sunglasses, a hat, a hand, anything covering 30 to 40% of the face, recognition rates collapsed below 40%. Let that land. Below 40% means the algorithm got it wrong more often than it got it right. More than half the images in the test database were wrongly matched. A partial face doesn't just make the embedding a little less accurate. It corrupts the embedding entirely. The 128 numbers the system generates aren't slightly off. They can be fundamentally broken. And the system has no way to tell you that. For an investigator comparing a grainy surveillance still to a clean mugshot, that's the difference between evidence and noise. For the rest of us, it means a system that works flawlessly when you look straight at your phone can fail spectacularly on a candid photo taken from the side in bad light. Which brings us to the number that fools almost everyone, the confidence score. When a system says 95% match, it feels like an A grade. It feels safe. But that score only describes one pair of images at one moment. It's a local measurement, not a global guarantee. Run that same algorithm across a database of 100,000 faces, and false positives start to stack. A 95% score on a single comparison tells you almost nothing about whether that match will hold up at scale. That's the gap between what the number says and what people hear. One more layer. Deepfakes make all of this harder. According to current detection benchmarks compiled by ScreenApp, the best deepfake detection tools reach 90 to 96% accuracy. 96% sounds high, until you realize that means 4 out of every 100 synthetic faces slip through undetected. Tools like Intel's Fake Catcher try to catch fakes by analyzing something called photoplethysmography, tiny color changes in human skin caused by blood flow. Real skin pulses with each heartbeat in ways that are invisible to your eye but measurable by a sensor. Deepfake generators don't simulate blood flow, so its absence becomes a signal. That's a detection method no human could replicate just by looking. Your eye asks, "Does that look like the same person?" The algorithm asks, "Are these 2 points close enough in a 128-dimensional space given these specific image conditions?" Those are fundamentally different questions, and only the second one is defensible. So 3 things to carry with you. First, facial recognition doesn't see your face. It converts it into 128 numbers and measures the distance between them. Second, that math works beautifully on clean photos and can fall apart completely when a face is angled, obscured, or poorly lit. Third, a high confidence score describes one comparison, not overall reliability, and it never tells you when its own data is corrupted. Whether you evaluate evidence for a living or you just want to know what your phone is actually doing when it looks at you, understanding the math is how you stop being at its mercy. The full story's in the description if you want the deep dive.
Now you know something most people in this industry don't. Use it. And when you're ready to put it to work, Caracomp.com. We'll see you tomorrow.